What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with GuitarControl.com here, and do you want to know what the difference between a beginner and an intermediate player is? Beginners play guitar with their fingers. Intermediate players play with their talons. So today we are going to learn some exercises and licks you can do to kind of get the spacing between your fingers up to speed so you can play maybe more advanced stuff and just work on your fretboard reach in general. So definitely click the link below to kind of get tabs of these exercises and licks to maybe follow along better. And let's get right to them. We're going to do 5, okay? And the very first one we're going to do is going to sound like this. Okay? Now, one thing about this is following the tab, if you find some of these are too much of a stretch, you can always move them down the neck, right? The spacing between the frets is bigger, closer to the nut, and it tapers as you get down. So if playing this on the 5th fret is too much of a reach, bring it down to like the 12th fret, and it should be a little bit easier, right? But basically what we're going to do is we're going to play the 5th fret on the E string with your pointer finger, the 7th fret on the A string with your ring finger, and the 9th fret on the D string with your pinky, right? Now, the interesting thing about this is if that's too much of a reach, like if this is really killing your hand to get there, you don't want undue tension in your hand. A lot of players think that they can maybe speed up the spacing between their fingers by really just reaching and kind of like hurting their hands. But if you can't do it all in one chord type thing, just reach. Right? 5, 7, 9. And you'll find that the more you do this, your fingers will get tired of having to move around, and you'll eventually find the most efficient way, and then your fingers will just be able to reach out for what it's looking for, instead of you having to really cram into it, right? So again, we're going 5E to 7A to 9D. And then after we get to 9D, we're going to go 7D, ring finger, pointer finger 5D, ring finger 7A, pinky 8A, ring finger 7E. Back to the beginning. Okay, so it's kind of a cool sounding thing. It's got this like little suspended chord type deal hidden in there. So definitely a really good one to start improving the reach between your pointer finger and your pinky. But that isn't the only reach that you should be worried about, right? I think a lot of people maybe think that like how many frets they can span and like one thing, like, oh, check it out. Like that's like the least practical way to think about it. You would never play anything like this. So really, when I think of reaching, I think of the space between every one of my fingers, right? So the next one we're gonna do is gonna sound like this. Okay, and all I'm doing is I'm going from the 5th fret of the E string to the 7th fret of the E string with one finger. Now I'm going to do this with my middle finger, but if this is too hard, do it with your ring finger, because I'm concentrating on the space between these two, right? So, now this is something that'll come in maybe useful once you start playing more advanced stuff. But really, I've got the slide 5 to 7 with my middle, back to 5A with my pointer, right? And again, you can do it with your ring if that's too much of a challenge. The spacing between all of your fingers is really important. So all I'm doing is I'm doing the first slide, back to the A string, back to where I just came from, 7E, 5A, 7A, slide 2 frets, end up on 7D, which is the first note. This is an octave, same note, so. You do these together. Okay, so we've got 2 exercises right off the bat. Now the third one is going to be one that you'll see in a lot of rock solos. This is going to be an arpeggio, and again, we're still going to do it on the 5th fret. Again, you can move this anywhere you want to make it more accessible, or you can move it back to challenge yourself more. But we're going to start 5 on the high E string, pointer finger. Then I want you to take your pinky and put it on the 8th fret of the E string. And I want you to hit the 8th fret and pull off to 5. And then make sure you can kind of bar both of these because we're going to get 5B too. So 8E to 5E to 5B. So do 4 of those. Or if you want to, you can use your ring finger for this too. And then we're going to take this. This is a minor arpeggio, okay? And then the difference between major and minor is a flat 3rd in minor. This interval right here is the root to its minor 3rd. So a major chord would be 1 up, right? So minor arpeggio, major arpeggio. Okay, so this is a really great one to kind of start working on the heavy metal stretch right here. So we've got 8 to 5 to 9 to 5. Okay, you'll find this comes in really handy with a lot of like solos, like Stairway to Heaven is another great example of something that uses that. Now, exercise number 4 is going to be a blues shuffle type pattern, okay? So we're going to start incorporating chords into this. So I've got a power chord on 5E. Again, all these are going to be in the same position. So 5E, ring finger, 7A. Now what we're going to do, we're going to turn this into like a bluesy type boogie shuffle or something like that. It's going to sound like this. So the first 2 hits are going to be just a regular power chord, and the third one is going to be an extension of your pinky to 7A. Again, if that's too long, bring it down to like 12. But all we're going to do is go 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we have a 4-beat count, 1 and 2 are going to be the power chord, 3 is going to be the reach, and 4 is going to be the power chord again. 1, 2, reach, 4, 1, 2, reach, 4, 1, 2, reach, 4. Down a string. Get a 12-bar blues thing going. If you're feeling really frisky, try to do this. Okay, that's taking it 1 fret further. So that's a pretty big stretch here at the 5th fret. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. Okay, so that's something that's a practical way that you can use in a blues song. Now the last one we're going to do is one that I use for a warm-up a lot. And this is going to be every fret gets its own finger assigned to it, and we're going to use 4 strings, and we're going to do kind of like a diminished sounding run, right? So again, we're starting on 5E. Your middle finger is always going to be 6, your ring finger is always going to be 7, and your pinky is always going to be 8. So that'd be like a chromatic thing, right? Now, but how we're going to do it is we're going to go 1 fret higher, 1 string down every time. So 5E, 6A, 7D, 8G, right? This is a really good picking exercise too, to do alternate picking. Down, up, over strings, or you just go straight down. However you want to do it. But I like this exercise because we'll circle it all the way back to the beginning. So we got 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to walk it back chromatically down this G string. 1 finger at a time. And then we're going to do the inverse. So we're kind of making like a staircase. Right? Maybe not the most like pleasant sound, but it's a great warm-up, and it is kind of like a cool diminished type sounding thing, right? So when I say staircase, I just mean, if you see how like my fingers are stacked right here, you can kind of see I'm just going up a string, back a fret each time, right? And then we're gonna, so from the top, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, backwards, now do the staircase again. And then once you get to the bottom with your pinky, then we're just walking that back. Just like sinister sounding. So if you really want to drive your roommate crazy, just shred that up and down. So basically those are 5 different licks or exercises you can do to really improve your reach. So if you liked what you saw, definitely click the like button and subscribe. Make sure to grab those tabs in the link below. And again, we're always looking for your feedback, so any questions or comments you have, leave them in the comment section and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Thanks a lot.